was walking down the street. It had got darker a lot sooner than she anticipated. She didn't intend to stay out that late. Suddenly, she hears the snapping of branches behind her. Could it be her imagination, or could somebody be behind her? Run, she tells herself. But nothing happens. She is unable to move a single muscle in her body, except her heart, which feels like it's about to pop out. What could be happening? Flashes of the last kidnapping news runs through her head. The thought of her little sister weeping because big sis didn't come home. Suddenly, a surge of energy envelopes her and she finds herself flying down the street. What just happened? Amma moved despite being afraid. So what just happened? Why couldn't she move in the first place? Fear. Fear had her in its clutches. Fear has a way of paralyzing us. Fear has a way of preventing us from progressing. However, if we have to move, if we have to make the changes, we cannot allow fear to hold us back. So, how do we move despite being afraid? Allow me to share with you how I was able to move despite being afraid. I have a friend. She was looking for employment, and in a conversation, she asked me a simple question. Do you know your strengths? Do I know my strengths? You see, this question had become simple because I spent so many years answering that question. Being the helpful friend I am, I took it upon myself to help her out. The result was an entire workbook that I authored titled, Finding the Person Called Me, in hopes that individuals can travel within themselves, discover what is within themselves, and put together a game plan to reach actualization. The process of putting this book together, I discovered 3 key components that I believe any individual or organization, when confidently answered, will be able to make the necessary adjustments they ought to do. Let me share with you what I discovered. Worth, strength, and weakness. I happen to be a fan of words, and I realize when we take a closer look at words, they come to life. So let's take a look at each word. Worth. The dictionary defines it as the substance of something, an indefinite quality of something with a specific value. Now, the meaning of indefinite is something vague, not clearly defined. So worth is something that is a value that needs to be defined. The question is, who gets to define this? The key thing that I realized was that the definition of worth, your worth, my worth, is the most critical and the most important thing in order for us to face our fears. Who do you say you are? Who are you being? What do you want to be recognized for? What do you want to be respected for? The answers to these is how I was able to define worth. The thing is, if we do not define our own worth, others will define it. And when that happens, we lose the essence of who we are. Strength. The thing that started all this. The dictionary defines as the capacity of a substance being able to withstand stress or pressure. The tricky thing I discovered is that strengths are the things that we do so naturally, so effortlessly, while others marvel at it and ask, how did you do it? To you, you just did, because that thing is your strength. Those things that we do so naturally, so effortlessly, that are our strengths. And the last, weakness. This has become one of my favorite words. Very ironic, since strength is what got the ball rolling. Dictionary defines it as the state of being weak, at fault, disadvantage. And the thing that I realized about the weakness is that sometimes our greatest strength comes disguised as weakness. I would never have discovered one of my greatest strengths had I not been put in a state of discomfort. I would never have put together a workbook, nor would I be standing here today. The things that we dread doing, the things that make us so uncomfortable, the things that we will hesitate, is the very last thing we will even volunteer for. Those happen to be our weakness. However, if we would take time to look at our worth, define our worth for ourselves, know our strength, know our weakness, then we will be able to know and do the things that we have to do. Thank you very much.